It's been difficult for everyone, I guess, to witness so much injustice and so much silence. And basically, that's what's been happening for 75 years now. So we need to use this momentum to keep it going. No colony or oppressed country during the history has stayed as so. Like, in the end, they all have been liberated, even though they were not the strongest. So we need to believe in it first and free ourselves first to be able to free them. And I faced so many backlash from my followers, from my friends even. So I lost friends. And it was not easy because the amount of hatred to take on a daily basis was huge.
How is someone supposed to grow, on social media?
So the first rule, and I feel a lot of people are forgetting, is to say, today, the trend in all algorithms, it's not like you get married and you tick a box and khalas, I can go to the next thing. No, it's like a project. You need to work on it every single day. I think I would say to her, if you only knew what's going to happen, like you would have been much more confident and easy on yourself.
قبل ما نكمل الحلقة تأكدوا تزورونا على موقعنا myriad.com بحال بدكم تدعمونا. اشتركوا معنا كرمال تقدروا تحصلوا على حلقات مختصرة وبلاي ليست.
بالإضافة إذا كان عندك عمل تجاري أو بودكاست عبالك تبلشها أو تكبرها، تعرف على جميع خدماتنا من استشارة بودكاست، تسويق رقمي وإنتاج. وآخر شي بطلبوا منكم سبسكرايب on يوتيوب وتابعونا على جميع مواقع التواصل. وهلأ خلينا نكمل الحلقة. Guys, welcome to another episode of Higher Take. We're very excited for this one. We have a very special guest. She's a digital creator. She's an entrepreneur, a wife, a mother, and someone that really speaks the truth. And she will raise her voice because it's the right thing to do. Insaf, happy to have you here with us.
Welcome to Higher Take.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the really nice introduction.
Bien sûr, bien sûr.
So happy to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I don't know if this question has a meaning anymore, but alhamdulillah, okay.
Yani with the situation that's been going on, and how are you? I know it's a difficult question, right? Because the reality is that we're probably all of us not okay with everything that's happening. But how do you cope with it? No.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm very transparent. I told you offline, yani it's been difficult, like for everyone, I guess, to witness so much injustice and so much silence and so much. But the way I'm finding out now is really to have some breathers during my day to keep the strength to keep going on, and also to just remember like that. There is a judgment day, that God is here and watching, and at some point there is going to be an ending. So, yeah.
Oh, we hope so.
Inshallah, I hope.
I love the scarf. What's it called? It's called?
The kayfiyya.
The kayfiyya that you're wearing. Yeah. I hope it will come to an end. But until it does, what's the healthiest thing to do? I know, is it always healthy to always keep looking, at what's going on? It will, but maybe it's the right thing to do, but is it the healthiest?
So I'm just gonna answer from a personal perspective. I think we're all wired differently. The way I cope in this situation is to be in action. So as we know, we cannot do much because of the situation, but what can I do is to speak up, to write about it, to educate myself, to educate others, to keep learning, to engage in conversations, to engage with friends, to use my money wisely. And this is what keeps me going. I don't think that necessarily watching all videos and pictures and graphic content is the best thing to do, because we're already convinced of what's happening, and it's super triggering and even depressing to witness so much horror. I don't even know if our brains are wired for that. But I feel we need to keep knowing what's happening. So some people can watch graphic content and some others can read about what's happening. But the idea is to keep a connection with it, not to disconnect, because the disconnect is going to remove the cameras from Gaza and from what's happening in Palestine in general, and they're just going to suffer in the dark. And basically, that's what's been happening for 75 years now. So we need to use this momentum to keep it going. And I know it's hard because the easy solution would just be to stop looking. But I think we need to find some sort of balance because it's part of our life now and we don't know when it's going to end. To look at it, to act for it, and to still be able to cope with our everyday life that God gave us in the end of the day.
For sure. ده 100%. I agree with everything that you said. واحد لازم يلاقي the balance وما ينسى, not to forget, not to normalize it.
And to do like best of your capability to promote and to spread awareness, because sometimes we feel like we're stuck in a situation where regardless of whatever you do, even if you do it in masses, it will not result in the optimal result that we want, is that peace and for these killings to stop. But at least if each one of us took an initiative to spread awareness, to spread the word, maybe our impact will not be that big, but with a domino effect of many people doing this, I think we can reach a stage where we at least do our due diligence in spreading awareness.
Exactly. And also I was having this discussion with my husband, like, again, we're all wired differently. So I feel my role is to speak up, is to post on social media. But for example, he's not on social media, so he would not post, but he would engage every day with every person he encounters around the topic. So I feel we can all act at our level with being completely authentic to our own selves without judging each other. But for sure, I completely agree with you that it's not going to lead to anything. Mentality needs to shift because no colony or oppressed country during the history has stayed as so. Like in the end, they all have been liberated, even though they were not the strongest. So we need to believe in it first and free ourselves first to be able to free them.
I really hope so. And so social media has been a very, very strong weapon.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, there's heroes, reporters that are in Gaza. Many of them sacrificed their lives. Many of them still there, conveying the stories. It should not be normalized. Inshallah, أكيد, it will become better. But for someone, like you with a wide range of audience, look, have you gotten any backlash for that? And also, I know you work with brands, you work with potentially retailers. So has that impacted any of your businesses?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer this question super honestly. So my audience is not only Arab. So I have kind of international audience. So of course, it's not the first time I speak about Palestine. I've always spoken about it. I've been on Instagram since 9 years now, and each time there was something I spoke about it. So it's not new. But obviously, this is the first time I have this much audience. And I faced so many backlash from my followers, from my friends even. So I lost friends in this. And it was not easy because the amount of hatred to take on a daily basis and even threats I got was huge.
Threats?
Yes. But still, again, I didn't think about, am I going to speak about Palestine? Like, it was instant. It was obvious for me, sorry. And I didn't really care about the consequences or anything that would come out from this because for me it was non-questionable. For brands, it's been interesting. So I decided to finish some contracts with brands that are sort of supporting the genocide because I'm a big believer of boycott. So if I advise someone to do so, I need to start with myself. So this came from me, but they were super comprehensive about it. I had brands that wanted to stop working with me because I was too vocal and they don't want anyone taking sides, which I completely understand. But then I had also other brands, which are amazing, that were super supportive, that accepted me to delay the partnership until I resume posting, and a lot of them that also reached out to work with me. So really, I believe that when you are aligned with yourself in all topics, you always land with something better than what you got before. يعني really, I'm a Muslim and I really believe like من ترك شيئا لله وعوضه خير منه. I really
Beautiful.
believe this.
I love it.
Of course.
So,
I love it.
Like with everything that happens, it's okay, some opportunities might fall back, but some opportunities might rise again.
Exactly.
Like any other thing.
And at least, look, I always looked at influence not as like, I'm not just here to entertain people, you know. I know that's some
Part
people,
of what you do.
Yeah. But for me, I'm here to advocate as well a certain lifestyle, a certain change, certain values. And I really need the brands I work with to fit in this. So this is also a reason why I never wanted to be only an influencer. This is also a reason why I always had other activities going on, because I didn't want to feel unchained, you know, in a job where my revenue would depend on what people think of me. Really.
I love this mentality. I just want to say one thing. And you said you understand that some brands don't want you to take side. Anna, personally, I don't think I understand too much. There's a side that's doing potentially a genocide, and the other one that's being
definitely a genocide.
Definitely a genocide, and you know the other side's being killed. يعني. I don't really understand that, because some brands would be fine with you defending Israel, but if you defend the other side, they're like, okay, we can't.
For sure,
we can't work with you.
Some of us are untouchable, and some of us are more a target. But to be honest, I don't want to work with them. Like, if this is their thinking, and if they think that there is sides, even, yani, I don't want to work with them.
And it's also kind of funny because I feel like brands search for influencers who are authentic and genuine to their case and to themselves. So once an influencer is genuine to their case, they represent actually what they feel, automatically the audience will feel like, okay, if they're working with this brand, I want to give this brand a shot because I trust her. So now if they're breaking this bond and they're breaking this trust, who are they actually searching for if it's not someone who's representative to their case and honest to themselves? So I'm not sure, back to your point, on how brands are actually choosing the people they work with if they don't want to be honest from the first place.
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, I just want to state again, it was a minority. Like, most of the contracts that I lost, like, it came from me. I am the one who went to them and said, I want to stop. And these brands that I have in mind were super... like, because it's the local ones, you know. So these local teams, yani, we've been working. They're like, look, we completely understand. Anyway, everything is paused for now, and they were so nice. And also, as you said, it gives the spotlight to other brands that are maybe smaller, but they depend they depend more of your posts, yani. And I've seen my community going and really out of stocking them. So I was so happy in the end of the day, you know, like everyone is happy, and it gives the spotlight to new brands, and it also pushes us to consume differently, which is a very interesting point.
Definitely regarding brands, and back to what's happening in Gaza and Palestine in general, West Bank as well. And how do you see, I had just general thinking, no one's a political expert, and how do you see everyone who uses social media reacting to the continuous situation that personally I don't see it stopping anytime soon? And I'm just going to take another example, like the civil war that happened in Syria maybe a decade ago or so. There was lots of awareness in the beginning. Then it just got a bit normalized. Now the situation is maybe different than how it was before. So that's what's going to happen in Gaza. Do you feel? I hope not.
I feel that this time
it's a different situation.
It's a different situation, and we reach the point where lines are changing. Are we gonna liberate Palestine tomorrow? I don't think so. I don't think we're even gonna witness a free Palestine, us, the three of us. But what I think is that the world as we know it now is collapsing because all the myths of the West being the nice guys and the democracy and us being the terrorists and whatever is collapsing. And a lot of people are seeing this. So what I feel from a spiritual level is that a new world is having a rebirth. And you know, we mentioned my newborn birth earlier.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's painful, and I feel we are in that phase of a contraction. So I feel like it's gonna come with time. Maybe in 3 months on social media we're not gonna speak about Gaza, but in 2 years, they're going to want to annex south of Gaza, and it's going to be another wave, and we're going to go a bit deeper and further. Yes, sorry, and it's going to come ultimately. So this is my thinking. Also, let's not forget, like, it's all politics, it's all interests. You know, today the Arab world is not in a place, unfortunately, where they can do much more than speeches. But let's not forget, we have some countries that are being, I feel, stronger and stronger. And maybe in 20, 30 years, the politics, the interests are going to be different. Like, no one would have told that Germany in 1942 would lose the war in 1945. Yani, things are changing. And we need to keep the history in mind. So yeah, this is what I think.
La, definitely. I do hope things are gonna change. As you said, it takes time. But something that, despite this entire war, something beautiful that I have seen is the change in people's thoughts, the change in people's perception. Everywhere around the world, hundreds of thousands, in the States, everywhere, in London, in Paris, in Australia.
Everywhere.
That's back to the point that you were talking about,
yes.
And that's the power of social media.
Exactly.
Because if this would have happened 30 years ago, and that was the case, as you mentioned, 75 years, okay, we the Arabs will always have the same mentality. Yeah. But what about the friend you had your master's degree with 3 years ago?
I completely agree with you.
Is the thing.
And this is actually a very beautiful transition because as I mentioned, on my followers, I don't have only Arabs. So some attacked me, but some got to learn about Palestine for the first time ever. Like, I had super interesting conversations with people telling me, Insaf, we didn't know the word Palestine. Yani, the first time we saw something, it was Israel-Hamas on the 7th of October. Because if you tune in Western medias, like, I am half French, so I go and I tune in and I see what they are saying. Like, it's the complete opposite of what we are saying on social media. Yani. So if you don't know anything about it and you don't really care because, you know, it's happening somewhere in the Middle East, yani, for sure you're gonna believe them. And these people reached out and said, honestly, when in the beginning we saw your post, we were like, what the fuck? Like, she's talking about something we never ever like knew or been mentioned before. And then they digged in and they even had conversation with Zionists and cornered them, and they were like, okay, this doesn't add up. And now they're pro-Palestine. French people, like, they're not gonna be vocal on social, okay? No. Because maybe they don't feel disconnected to the cause, but in on the background, they asking for the boycott list, and they're telling me, like, we're with you, we understand you, this is really great. And for me, this is where my job is, you know. In the end of the day, everyone is responsible for its own self. But my job is to give you the information, to do the work, to try and educate you. And then you pick your side.
I don't think you need to pick, it's clear.
Yeah.
What's beautiful, there's lots of Jews.
Yes.
Like real Jews that came up and they said what's being done is horrible.
Of course.
It is horrible. And for me, and just my perspective in life, I'm not aligned with anyone that's extreme. You know, extremists.
100%.
Zionists are extremists. There is also Muslim extremists.
Of course, 100%.
I'm against them as well.
Yeah.
I believe, like, everyone should find peaceful and reasonable solutions that would reach peace and make all parties happy and most importantly equal.
For sure, I feel like peace is a beautiful end game state, but first we need justice to reach that peace. And I don't know if you guys want to watch at some point, but in 2021 I had done a live interview with an Israeli Jew, Ashkenaz Jews. She's living in Israel. She's called Yehavit. And I urge you guys to follow her because she's one of the very few Israelis that are actually advocating for Palestine. And she just told the story of how she was brainwashed and then she came to know the truth. And that the main thing was going to, places in Israel where Israelis cannot go to meet Palestinians. Because as long as you do that, the whole dehumanization that is going on is broken. And you just see that, across the world, there are people who are exactly the same as you. And she was speaking about a very nice ending, which would be one state for everyone with equal rights, with everyone living under the same roof. And she was like, call it Palestine, Israel, call it whatever you want. In the end, we just want this
We
peace.
want to live together.
But for this peace to happen, we need justice. And she was even, I found it very beautiful because she was even calling the cities, because Tel Aviv and stuff now, it's names that have, So she was saying, I'm living in Haifa. She was not saying, no, not Haifa. Haifa, no?
There is Haifa, there's Haifa.
Okay, anyway, I don't remember which one, but she was saying the original name. She was not saying the name that was given by Israel. So these people, unfortunately, they don't get a lot of attention. And when they do, Israelis, they hate them.
Like speaking of threats.
Yes. Oh my God. That's why I'm like, me, it's nothing, honestly. The level of threats she got is another level. But this one was super interesting because on the other hand, I did the same with a Palestinian, which his name is Ahmed Al-Qurna, and he's also a journalist. And they were saying the exact same thing.
They want peace.
Yeah. But the real one, we want peace process, two states. So, they want real peace, justice, equality, no apartheid.
The government of Israel is mostly led by Netanyahu. They're extremists, they're right-wingers, they're racists, whatever you want. They don't want a peaceful solution.
No.
Because to get a peaceful solution, there should be اعتدال. There should be fairness. At the end of the day, Inshallah, we'll reach that stage. It's important to always talk about it. As you said, I don't want the current situation, the way it is right now, to become normalized, in Israel, Palestine. So we should always raise awareness because the war is still going on. They haven't stopped. They're still firing. They haven't declared ceasefire. We need to keep pushing from our side.
Yeah, sure.
For sure. You mentioned something important. And everyone should do what they're capable of doing. You have a huge audience, definitely. You're reaching out. We on Higher Take, we did an episode. We talked with our guests about it as well. And offline, we also conduct what we have to do. But it's definitely very important. And I don't know if you want to mention anything else about this topic, but we can talk infinitely about it.
I think we've said
we can talk infinitely about it. It's a never-ending topic. But I also want our guests, to get to know you, Insaf, because you have an amazing background in digital marketing.
Thank you.
So maybe to shift gears a bit, you could tell us more about you. How you started your career in digital marketing. Right now you have IB Digital Academy as well. There's a lot to tackle there. And then maybe we can talk about a bit more stuff. How about you get started with that? Tell us a bit more about it.
So to give a bit of context, Anna, I did a business school in France. And then I got graduated. And I always knew I wanted to work on communication. So even like when I was 16 years old, I was saying I want to work on communication. When I was at that business school, we needed to do an internship. And I really wanted to go to a communication agency. So I landed at Havas Media.
Havas, yeah.
My first internship was as a junior media buyer in display. Yani, it was on performance marketing, but it was the very beginning of performance marketing, you know. So this is where I discovered digital marketing. And in the end of the internship, at the end of the 6th month, I was like, okay, this is where I want to work. But no, I don't want to work on the tech side of things. I want to work on the creative side of things and on social media specifically. And this is also the time where I created my blog.
Okay.
At that time, it was called Sparkles in Paris.
Sparkles.
Yes. And this is where I got my Instagram and everything. It was in 2013. وبعدين I got graduated. I worked too. So there is like some sort of program on my school where you could work and study in the same time. So I did that. And I worked on social media for a train line company in France. And then I got finally graduated and I found my first job here in Dubai as social media manager at DDB Dubai.
Okay.
And after, so I came here and I found out I was pregnant. It was a surprise / accident.
You were already married.
Yeah. I was married.
Okay.
But I was married since maybe 4 months, something like this. It was not on the plans whatsoever. I was so young. It was my first job. I'm super career oriented.
How old were you at that point?
I was 25.
25, okay.
Damn, I'm 26, man. خلاص.
No, خلاص. I felt like a baby. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to handle this? Yani, honestly.
New country and new environment.
New country, new city, no friends. New job. I was literally 4 days in. You know?
And then you found out you were pregnant.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was shocked to my core. Like, I was like, no, this is not possible. But I'm going to tell you about it after. It was the best thing that happened to me. So yeah, I spent my first year of work pregnant and working. And I felt like I needed to deliver much more to prove myself because I was pregnant and it was not in pipeline, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, I had an amazing team, but I was working day and night because for me, it was so important to prove myself. Anyway, I delivered Haji, and then I came back. And when I came back, I kind of became the social media strategist. But then the rhythm of an agency is super, super tough with the kids, especially with the newborn. So I wanted to shift to the client side. And I've been chased by Charlotte Tilbury.
Okay.
And I went there. It was the most amazing experience. I've been digital manager there for the region for 2 years. It was amazing. But in the same time, my account on Instagram was growing more and more. And also I was thinking more and more to train people to social media.
Train people, yeah.
So this is where I had the idea of IB Academy. And I reached the point where I couldn't manage both anymore. So I needed to take a decision, either leave my position at Charlotte Tilbury or stop the project. And honestly, it was so hard because I loved my job so much and I loved my project so much. And it was working already. So it's not as if I was going to take any financial risk. But it was really hard for me to let go of that position, which was the position of my dreams, and I was just promoted and stuff. But I decided eventually to leave Charlotte Tilbury, and the team was extremely supportive, by the way. And I launched IB Academy. So IB Academy is a structure where I train people, entrepreneurs, content creators, even companies sometimes to different digital marketing topics. It can be social media, it can be ads, it can be performance, it can be client servicing. Honestly, anything on social media and digital marketing. And then on the other side, I also do consulting to create like 360 strategies for brands on social media.
Wow, you tackled so many things.
Yeah.
Where to start?
Exactly. And it's quite interesting because you tailored your Instagram following and what you mentioned, not only for entertainment, but for educational purposes as well.
Yes.
So it quite added up. And when did you leave your position in the last corporate company?
So it was in 2021,
So it's
after
been
COVID.
After
Okay.
COVID.
So it's been
Yeah.
2 years only with the Digital
Yeah.
Academy.
So I was 2 years at DDB, 2 years at Charlotte Tilbury, and then I left, and now it's been 2 years with my own company. But I started a bit before leaving. Let's say 6 months before leaving. I was
IB.
already
IB.
IB.
You were
Digital
cooking
Academy.
the
Cooking.
Yeah,
the
but
recipe.
I was transparent about it. Look, in Charlotte Tilbury, they were looking for an entrepreneur profile for this job. So they knew since the beginning that my end goal was not to be like a CMO of Charlotte Tilbury. That they knew that my end goal would be to create my own thing. So that's why they were super.
That was the question I had. I know, like lots of people are, scared, quote unquote, to let their corporate
Yeah,
people know what they're doing on the side.
yeah,
Because it might stop them from growing in the company. Like بعض وقت عالم بيشتغلوا, people work in corporate, they
Yes.
just don't want to say because the people in corporate would like, لا, he's wasting time on other stuff, he should only be focusing on us. But it's good your company.
yeah. Because I was delivering on the other side. Yani it was not compromising
Your
on my
performance.
performance. And I think this is the way you
This
should
is
play
important, of course, but there's some companies that even if you're delivering, I believe, and you start doing maybe something on the sides, maybe they don't understand even if you deliver like,
it. Yeah.
okay, so they'll be like, okay, so he can deliver more or she can deliver more.
Exactly.
I think it comes back to the culture
of the company.
And
True.
also your team.
Your team.
Yeah.
If they're supportive or if they feel like,
I mean, again, I never brought it to work, but obviously they all follow me, so they knew.
they know what's up.
And when I told my boss, she was not surprised. But again, I've been super transparent since the beginning. So
By the way, Insaf, عم تقعد كتير مع اللبنانية وبعدين وهلا ويلا, I can see it in your words. She has the Lebanese terminology.
after 6 years in Dubai,
And
يعني.
especially in agencies, I feel
Yeah.
there's Lebanese on it.
Honestly, at Charlotte Tilbury, I worked with one Lebanese actually, but they were, a lot of them were British.
British, yeah.
But yes, it's more like 6 years in
No worries.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Of course, you
get
meet
the
a lot of
impact.
Lebanese
You get the
people.
impact of those Lebanese. And in regards to that decision you made to leave,
Yeah.
خلاص, how did you make it? Is it because you saw you're financially secure from the IB Digital Academy side? Is like, if someone wants to leave, like there was financials or there was also like other securities that, okay.
Look,
you were like-
financial was a point.
A point.
Because I had a kid. My husband also launched his company at the
so
same time.
he's also an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Okay.
And before
nice.
that, he was working on consulting at Boston Consulting Group. So it was a big
BCG.
shift for both of us. Yani we left 2 amazing jobs
Yeah.
for companies that.
To build something. From
Yeah,
you.
to
I'm
build
really
something.
interested what your husband does right now.
Okay, I'll tell you about it because I work with him as well. So
Okay.
I'll tell you.
This is good. It's complimentary. She does the market. She's the head.
Exactly.
Oh wait, it's the renting
Yes.
stuff. Okay, Makan. It's called.
Yes.
Makan, right?
Yes, Makan.
It's a very good concept. Like you'll tell us more about it.
I'll tell you more about it. But yeah, so financial thing was the point, and my husband was extremely supportive. He was like, "Look, don't worry about that. Even if God forbid your trainings don't keep going, etc. I'm here to support."
That's a guy.
Yeah,
That's a guy.
that's a guy. So grateful for him. But then the second thing was, like, I always pictured myself maybe not being an entrepreneur this soon. Yani, you see what I mean? So I honestly, I took the decision when I was burning out because I didn't have nights, I didn't have weekends, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat because I was just working
And you have
all the
kids.
time.
Damn.
And I had
You had a
Hadi.
kid. Yeah, Hadi.
So it was like my husband looked at me and it was like, look, either you're gonna quit or you're gonna quit the other thing, but you need to quit something. I
You
give
need
you
to
1
quit
week,
something.
yani you're destroying yourself. You cannot. And he was right. He was right. Like khalas, I was hitting the wall. So this, to answer your question, this is when I took the decision.
Okay.
هلا in your like the trainings that you do, is it like mostly you? Do you now have a team? How does it happen there?
So for now, it's mostly me. I have two type of trainings. I have actually it has evolved through the time. When I started, I had like 4 courses and stuff. But now my structure is as so. So I have an intensive class an intensive master class actually that I give during a month. Each Monday, I have like a class with 10 people where I'm going to teach them, etc. And I have then one-to-one coaching sessions on Tuesday and Friday where we're going to apply what we learn on their projects. So in the end of the month, you have your social media content strategy, you have your positioning, your brand role, your vision, your mission, you have your first posts even that I have feedbacked that they have posted, and then we can analyze their performances, and they have their first ad campaigns. So they have all the tools to be completely independent and roll out their strategy to maximize their potential on social media. And I really love this model because I see the before and after, they see the before and after, they see the results, they see the impact. And they arrive at my classes and they don't know how to do a reels, you know?
Yeah.
And they end up with a full-fledged calendar. Yeah. So honestly, I'm so, you know, because when I was at the agency, and I think we all experience that in corporate world, there are so many things that you don't believe in or you're not aligned with.
Yeah.
Or you speak to a creative team and they're like, no, this is not the way we do things. And I'm like, no, but now in social media, this is how you...
Different. That's
and they don't want because they're so attached to the old way of doing things, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, now IB Academy is the opportunity for me again to be aligned with what I believe. يعني, and it's working, so I'm so happy.
And just a curious question, you provide these trainings only in English? Do you think...
in French.
In
I
French.
think.
In French.
Only in French, not in English.
For now, alors, let me clarify that.
Dis-moi.
Okay, je te dis. For now, it's in French because my clients are mainly French speakers.
Okay.
However, I have Lebanese people who are coming to my class. So I do the main class in French because they completely understand everything. But the one-to-ones in English.
One-to-ones in English. And do you have like any maybe plans or things you're looking forward to expand the language?
Of course. So first I have so many plans. The first one is to shift one of my trainings, which is a Masterclass Express that I give in 2 hours into e-learning. And the e-learning version would be available in French and English. And for this intensive classes, for now it's going to stay in French, but inshallah, in the near future, I'm going to also open English sessions.
So you want transition from like online trainings to like recorded SaaS model? That's what I got, which is very good model.
I was thinking about 12-based course, so I was like thinking, if you're now doing like face-to-face, right?
No, it's online.
That's online.
But it's on Zoom.
Zoom.
Actually, so the intensive core class is going to stay Zoom face-to-face.
Yeah.
But the other one, I didn't have the chance to explain what it is, but I have it's called Masterclass Express, okay? And it's 2 hours where I just explain the algorithms of Instagram and TikTok specifically and how to create content on these 2 channels. This one is going to shift to e-learning because I have a lot of people who cannot join at that hours. And after that, they're like, Insaf, can I pay you? And you just send me the recording. So honestly, and it's just better to shift it as an e-learning class.
And currently you have like most of your students, as you said, you have clients as well, students and clients. Like, are they small to medium enterprises and also entrepreneurs? Okay, and there are some corporate as well.
Yes.
And that. Okay, that's very interesting. I'm very interested in the class. I want to see it.
مرحبا مرحبا بك, as we say in Moroccan.
يا أهلا وسهلا. خلاص.
أنا I say it Moroccan way. مرحبا بك.
مرحبا بك. على المغربي حلوة كمان. Fantastic. In these classes, you said you teach how you do reels, create content. And I want to get some digital marketing insights, you know. So maybe you can give us shed light, you know, if someone wants to grow on social media, maybe you can do that express masterclass, super express.
Super duper express.
No, but some insights, for example, how is someone supposed to grow, on social media? They have a business. What are some key takeaways in the algorithm? Is organic more important or advertising more important? Some stuff like that.
Sure, I'm going to tell you. So the first rule, and I feel a lot of people are forgetting, is to set up your strategy. Like who you want to be as a brand on social media. Like what's your brand positioning? What's your brand role on social media? Like why people will follow you? Because obviously they won't follow you if you just post pictures of products on a white background. There is a website for that. Okay. So this is the first question you need to ask yourself. And this is the first this is what my first session of the big masterclass is dedicated to. It's really to do this strategic work. And then on this strategic work, I urge anyone to also define the content pillars. Like, what are you going to talk about? Because then content creation is super easy because at least it's structured and you know what are the topics you need to tackle. So once you have your topics, we move to content creation. And here we're going to give 2 tips. The first one is humanize your brand. Today, the trend in all algorithm is human people, faces. Like if you don't want to show yourself, that's fine. But you need UGC content creator, you need user-generated content, you need content that feels so close to the audience. This is my tip number 1, and I think maybe one of the most important things to grow. The second thing would be to follow trends and to adapt the trends to your brand. I'm going to give an example. Maybe it's going to speak to a lot of us. Maybe a year ago, there was a trending song on TikTok called Corn. The song was like, for me, I really like corn. Yeah. And it was about...
Yeah.
I'm so glad you know it.
He knows it. I was trying to...
I know it. And, like 2 years ago. It was...
a year ago.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It was a year ago.
When you said it, I was...
Yeah, you remember?
Like,
for me, I really like corn.
Yeah.
And it was about corn in the beginning, Yani it's not about anything else than corn. But it was trending. So what I advised my client at that point was to take this trend and adapt it to their brand. And at that time, Crocs, the Crocs shoe brand, they did. For me, I really love Crocs, and they adapted it to Crocs, and it was trending on TikTok. So this one could have been duplicated in all the segments. So I feel the second tip would be really analyze what's happening. Don't watch it naively. Yani when you watch something trending, try to analyze why and try to replicate for your brand.
Yeah.
Beautiful advice.
I think these would be the 2 main tips, but of course there are a lot.
There are a lot.
But human authenticity and trends, I feel, are the and today also another tip to grow, something that's working super well on Instagram and TikTok are the series. And vlogs and content that has many episodes, because you're giving a rendezvous to the person that she wants to follow. And also if I land on a video of you that is trending, let's say, I don't know, tips on social media, I want to go and check the other tips, which brings traction to your account. No. So this mechanic of having a series of tricks, of tips, of vlogs, of whatever, is something that is working extremely well. And also if you commit to do that, for example, for 30 days, you maximize your chances to be viral in one of them, Yep. So
how many times should you post a day?
This is the golden question. Honestly, there is no good answer to that. What I can tell you from a marketing perspective is that it's not best practice to post a lot during a day, because it cannibalizes the more you post, the more you cannibalize the first posts. I would advise to post maximum once a day. What's important is to post at the same time, though.
Okay. The same time.
Yes, because the algorithm is like Insaf is gonna post at noontime, And I see it, like if I post for a week at noontime and then I forget and I post at 3 p.m., the reach is going to drop because the algorithm is not used to me posting at 3 p.m. So he's not giving me the exposure I would have at noontime. And this is super important, the time of posting.
And back to the point you said that you would recommend to post once per day. And I actually agree very much with you on this point. But if I want to play the devil's advocate, sometimes I see that like other people speaking and preaching and no, it's fine to post like 3 to 4 times. Why? Because with this new algorithm, like if I post one post at 2 p.m., Walid and you might see the post, but if I post it at 4, Eli and Sharbil might see it. And then if I post it at 8, other people might see it. So what are your thoughts on this?
I would disagree on it because, I mean, based on my experiences with my clients and with myself, it's not true. I mean, it can be true. Of course, you can reach different people at different timings, but you're spamming them. So maybe they would unfollow you because there are so many posts from you. This is one. 2, you're lowering your reach in each post though. Like you can do the test. Your first one is always gonna have more reach than the following ones. So maybe you're gonna reach different people, but you're not gonna maximize the potential of each post. So I mean, but again, I don't like to give like black and white answers.
There's no black and white
because
answers.
If you are a journalist, then maybe it makes sense to post 4 times a week. It's 4 times a day. If you are a brand, I don't advise that because you're spamming your audience.
Very good.
Yeah.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
Journalists works like more in real time.
Yes.
Like they're waiting for you. And if you don't post, they will unfollow you.
Exactly. It's different, you know.
Yeah.
A journalist in Gaza today, yes, he needs to post even 10 times a day because there are so many things to say, and there is like the race of who's gonna post the. But you know, if you are a brand, it's a different perspective. Even if you're a creator, like you don't want to spam your audience too much, and you want to give the necessary value to each one of your posts. Like, of course, if you are, I don't know, in a travel experience that is amazing and you want to post twice a day, it's fine. Like, again, there is no black and white answer. But as a general rule, I would stick to once a day.
What about a podcast? What did you advise?
For a podcast, it's interesting. I feel, again, it goes back to the content pillars. But I would say that there are different types of content you could post around the podcast. But again, I would stick to once a day, even once every 2 days.
We're doing things right.
100% بس بعد نروح فايرل على كم بوست.
لا 100%.
بس أنا one thing, do you advise? It's fine.
Sorry.
Do you advise يعني people that are not very familiar, let's say, with Photoshop, Adobe Premiere? Are there some tools? ما بعرف, maybe you advise them to use those. بس أنا those people that need to create content, how should they create them?
Actually, there are tools that are so easy to use. I use InShot for video editing.
InShot?
Yeah.
Okay.
So user-friendly, so easy. I mean, of course, you need to spend time on it, okay? Nothing is
straightforward.
Yeah. But honestly, for me, the best app for beginners is InShot or CapCut. Okay.
CapCut.
Yeah. For the captions, they can use Caption if they have an iPhone. Super easy.
Caption's
like
amazing.
You just, again, back to AI. Like it's amazing. It auto generates the caption. It saves you time. You have your captions. Of course, again, please double check that the spelling is correct and everything. It saves you so much time. So these apps can be used. And for visuals, for more graphics, I use Canva. Canva is super easy.
Canva's beautiful.
And amazing. So
I'm sure you've never heard about ChatGPT, right?
Oh, never, ever. Never, ever.
What is it?
ChatGPT. Honestly, I don't know how to answer this question because it's everything. It's not one thing. But on a realer note, like how much do you use ChatGPT like per day or per week? Do you think like it's خلاص your friend that's always going to be there for you, or like you see it in different ways?
I consider it my best friend. ChatGPT, I talked with more than people.
Like
I'm gonna tell you something so funny.
If we have one mutual friend here between all 3 of us, it's ChatGPT. 100%.
Our common friend.
No, I'll start with something super funny. So when I was delivering, literally at the maternity, okay, it was 2 a.m. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this because you're not women, but maybe you've spoken to women who delivered before. But they tell you that when contractions become super close, this is when the real labor starts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So I was at 2 a.m. and it was super painful. Not gonna lie. Okay, this is a pain I've never felt in my whole life. And it was getting closer, and then I started to shake. So my husband
God.
and me were like, what's happening? I was like, I don't know. I don't understand. I'm shaking. So we asked ChatGPT. Hi, ChatGPT. My wife. And he's like, Insaf, it's a good sign. Apparently the labor is starting.
Wow.
And he was right, actually. So ChatGPT, yes. This was the funny side. But in my job, a lot of people think it's a threat. A lot of people think ChatGPT is going to replace them. Oh my God. This is not. Actually, it's so untrue. I use ChatGPT as a resource in my team. So I'll give you an example. I want to do creative ads. And by the way, you asked me about ads. I didn't answer this question.
I was getting there.
Okay. What works best in ads today is very similar to what works best in organic today. So UGC content very selfie mode videos and all of this stuff. This is what works best on ads. But what's super important when you create an ad is the hook.
The hook.
And the caption you're going to put on that 3 seconds to grab your audience, right? So what I say to ChatGPT is, hi, I want to create creative ads. This is the type of hook that worked super well on the past. Please give me 10 hooks. But then you need to learn how to speak to him, you know?
No.
So I will tell him, be provocative, be more creative. La, this is my tone of voice. La, this is, and you adjust and you can keep the history as well on the right.
Yes.
So it's super interesting because, again, I really use it as a resource today. And at the beginning, I'm not going to lie, I was like, again, another tool, no need. But then I realized how
Literally
powerful
it
it was.
helps and everything.
And so to answer your question, I consider it a friend.
Just on this point, I think it's the most relevant to bring it up now. The thing I was telling you off air that what's happening now with
Yes.
ChatGPT.
Yes.
So basically now they're working on creating your own GPT. So what this means
GPTs.
is, for you. And for example, Walid creates his own GPT. So once
really?
he enters GPT, you know how these 4 questions pop? The first instant you enter ChatGPT, you have like 4 questions. So now if you have your own ChatGPT, when you enter the website, the 4 questions will be based on your recommendations and previous personal experiences.
Yeah.
So it's tailored towards you. So I think that will be very interesting. Yeah, I actually read the article yesterday on LinkedIn.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's the other level.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
that's
now,
next
for
level.
example, because we were speaking about history and that's why it popped in my head. So now when you enter, maybe the first thing you see are the 4 hooks that are recommended by ChatGPT. You know what I mean?
No,
So
definitely, it's always
interesting.
evolving.
And what's happening with the CEO?
They fired Sam Altman, and also the other co-founder left
Shame,
as well. I think I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I think both of them were decent entrepreneurs that really built the
I mean, come on,
company.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, but I think now the board, because it was acquired 49% by Microsoft, I think something like that. So I think they're gonna abuse it. Inshallah, not too badly.
Yeah.
But one remaining thing about ads, like you worked in media planning, performance. How do you suggest is the best way, to analyze the performance, to analyze the reporting, to extract all the reports from different social media platforms? Because if you have a brand, you probably, have ads on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, maybe LinkedIn, I don't know, and YouTube for sure, Google. So how do you consolidate, measure the performance of all of them? I don't know if that's something also like reporting and performance recommendations is a big part of it to know how to move forward.
Look, my job on performance is mainly creative, but I
Creative,
have some,
okay.
But I have some insights to give you.
Okay.
You need to compare always apples to apples. Okay, so the campaigns you're gonna run through Meta, which are mainly on Instagram, Facebook, but also on other websites and apps they own. you're gonna if you want to do, let's say, conversion campaigns, so campaigns that are gonna lead on e-commerce to sales, then your main KPI will be the cost of acquisition, okay, and the return on investment spent. These are gonna be your two main KPIs. On TikTok today, and same is for YouTube and Snapchat, from my knowledge, you do more of awareness campaigns. Okay, so your main KPI would be more focused on the reach rather than the cost of acquisition or the conversion. So yeah, so for me, I cannot compare the whole campaigns because they're not targeting the same objective.
They're different objectives.
So Meta is really cost of acquisition. Google, same. You can go to that level of conversion and you can do awareness as well. But for TikTok, it's very different. TikTok today, again, and I'm sure the algorithm at some point is going to be mature enough for us to advertise around conversion. But today, for us, TikTok is more about awareness. So the best value I can get from TikTok are views and reach.
Amazing.
Are you active on Snapchat?
No.
Although it's popping right now.
I know,
bro, Snapchat is a big source for Saudis and
it's popping.
It's very well known.
Yeah, it's there.
We're trying to get there.
But Snapchat is not for me.
Not for you, yeah.
It's fine.
It was at some point when I was in Paris, but I completely...
It was when I was in high school, but I didn't stay active.
Yeah, because you're younger than me, so your high school is my Paris time.
Oh my God. I'm not that much younger and you're not that old. But anyway.
No, for sure.
But I wanted to shift a bit gears and talk about a bit your husband, how you guys met up, potentially, with all this hectic life. How do you guys meet up and build this, let's say, power couple that's now working together? And maybe tell us a bit more about Makan.
Sure. Do you want me to start with Makan or the relationship?
A relationship led to Makan.
So we met actually 10 years ago in Paris through a friend. She's my best friend. They were in an engineering school together.
Okay.
So actually we were like, we would see each other, on parties and stuff. But, at that time I was with someone else and he was with someone else. So we never spoke or anything. But he told me afterwards that he was scrolling on Facebook and he said, this girl, I'm going to marry her. His friends said it was true. But after some time we met in Morocco again for a coffee.
Okay, nice.
with friends, and we started messaging a lot on WhatsApp. I was in Morocco, he was in Paris. I came back to Paris. He took me on a date and we stayed together for 4 years. And then he asked me to marry him. And then we got married. And then we came to Dubai. And it's been 6 years now in Dubai. So yeah, this is the story.
Beautiful, very summed up story.
Very summed up story. But if you have questions, I can answer them.
Definitely. Okay, هلا we'll get to Makan. You raised lots of... you said the summary of the story, which is really nice. It's the highlights. But I'm sure there were potentially some difficult moments.
Of course. Of
course. Maybe you can tell us about one, because it's important for everyone to listen to know about 100%. This stuff. That in whatever relationship there are issues. And if you want to maintain the relationship, you have to find a way to overcome
I will speak
them.
about that. I think it's so important, actually. So, alhamdulillah, we were so in love when we met and we are still in love, 10 years after. But throughout the way, of course, there are ups and downs. And I think our first down was when Hadi was born. Because obviously we were not prepared. I was not prepared at all. He was not. And my postpartum was super difficult. I felt so lonely. I felt not understood. I also was not mature enough to communicate the way I'm able to do it today. There was also a lot of ego involved in the equation. And I think actually what helped us go through this period was two things. First, I went on therapy, and I really want to tackle this because it's so important for people to normalize it. I feel we all need therapy.
Oh,
because
yes.
we all have our own trauma. And therapy changed so much in my life because you get to know yourself better. You get to know your patterns. You get to know your triggers. And when you do this work of consciousness, you are able to be very vulnerable with your partner and tell him about that. And I think this is the first thing that helped us, because by doing this work, I encouraged him to do the work as well. So we did the work separately and did the work together. And we created really a safe space for us to have tough discussions where we can cry, where we can shout. But in the end, we will always end up with like a very clear solutions and plan of actions to get things better. So this is the first thing. The second thing, and I feel this is our strength, is no matter how hectic the life gets, and it is so hectic, guys, I'm not gonna lie, you keep dating your significant other, you keep surprising your significant other, and you don't forget that it's your lover, not only your life partner, not only your husband, not only the father of your kids. And I feel these two things are so important, because let's get real. When life gets hectic, when you wake up at 6 a.m. to work out, take kids to school, work, come back, dinner, like you're exhausted, you know? And the first thing that goes out of the picture is the couple itself as a couple, you know? And I think we managed it pretty well to always put our couple as something super important. And when we see that we are sliding from that, we're like, put the date on the calendar, you know? Almost like a meeting, put the date on the calendar. We need that moment. So I feel these are the two things that helped us a lot. And of course, honestly, put your ego aside and communicating about the hard topics, you know, families, money, intimacy, all of these topics that everyone is looking at like, I cannot speak about that, it's too complicated. No, go, jump in, speak about it, because this is where you grow. You know, we hear a lot about growing as a person, blah, 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 but it's also about growing as a couple. And of course, you're not going to feel the butterflies on your tummy every day, but I'm super happy that I'm still feeling them 10 years after, even though I didn't feel them every day. Yeah. The most important thing is to still feel them and still entertain that love and work on it. It's work. Like, and I always say that even to my little brother, like, it's not like you get married and you tick a box and khalas, I can go to the next thing. No, it's like a project. You need to work on it every single day.
For sure. 100%.
And also you need to, the work is, you know, you need to do it together. It's very hard to do it alone. I'm so happy that I have found in my husband someone that is so understanding and open to conversations and tough ones, and that is never going to judge you for whatever you're going to feel, because this is the starting point. If you feel judged in your relationship, then for me it's chaos, you know, because you're going to censor yourself so much. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Sarah, beautiful stuff. I agreed with everything. Like, I sometimes I say something, I don't know if it's true or not. I know even a relationship, like, people usually, they work a lot on their businesses, you know? Exactly. They treat them well. Mm-hmm. And I also say, I know in some areas, not entirely, relationships are like businesses, you know? You have to communicate, you have to work on it, you have to give it its time.
Be accountable.
You have to be accountable for the mistakes you do in the business/relationship. I'm not saying like a relationship is just a business, but people, like for me, for example, workaholic, I like to work a lot, need to treat, you know, sometimes relationships not the same, but take into consideration that there are some important factors like the ones you said.
I feel these are like the intrinsic values that we all have to have, and in the different spaces that we encounter. Of course, it's a bit different, but back to your point, I know I see where you're coming from. There are some like basic things we should apply regardless of the space that we are.
Can you tell us a bit about Makan?
Yes. So Makan, so my husband and his associate Youssef, they co-created Makan.
Both were at BCG.
No, Youssef was at Oliver Wyman.
Whole consulting خربان. I was consulting. I started my own startup as well. My colleague was a consultant. We started our own startup.
Okay.
Consulting breeds entrepreneurs sometimes. But I think الآن بيعرفونا الشغل اللي بنعمله.
So you want to open your own thing.
فبنترك وبنشتغل شغلنا.
I mean, it's a smart
It's
move.
good. Consulting is a good move because, and at the beginning, because it also gives you the possibility. You learn a lot. You're exposed a lot. You get structured. You make savings because you're making a lot of money while you're in consulting. So then you'll be able to use that to be able to be comfortable to start your own. But Saul, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I completely agree, by the way.
Tell me about Makan.
So Makan is the number one furniture rental service in Dubai. And the idea came from the fact that, our generation moves a lot. And in Dubai specifically, people, they come and they don't know how many months or years they're going to stay. So the idea is really to make your life easy when it comes to finding a place that you want to call like home. Like really, it's create your dream home with zero commitment, zero hassle. So you can rent your furniture. You can buy it even if you want, but the real innovation is furniture rental, in the sense that you only pay for what you are using, but you never pay more than the retail price.
You never pay more than the retail price of the furnitures?
Of the furniture. The furniture is locally made. It's made by Makan. So it's not like we're not taking from any brands and renting it. It's Makan designs. And it has also been designed to fit like all kind of tastes and all kind of, what people like.
So beautiful. But Makan, they manufacture the furniture?
Yeah.
Oof. Okay, I'm just trying to think how the business model works. So you guys manufacture the furniture, people rent it on a monthly basis. Okay.
And it's sold on no higher than the retail price. That's
exactly. And then it's refurbished as new or completely new.
Okay, so it's for a lot of people that and the move in and the movement.
We take
you cover
care of
everything.
Free delivery and assembly. It's in 7 days. You get everything you need.
I think it's a good idea, because if you want to rent a place, like there's two options: you rent it without furniture or with furniture.
Yes.
The with furniture it's gonna come like more expensive, 20,000 dirhams, let's say, per year, more expensive. If the quality that Makan is giving to that person is better, which will be better, because the quality usually of the things that are there are not good, or it can be good, but it's very expensive.
Exactly.
It can be good, but it's very expensive. So no, it's a great idea. Because maybe we host your husband, he'll tell us a bit.
I would love you to host him or Youssef. But yeah, he can tell you much more about it.
Of course. I mean, amazing stuff. Yeah. Very interesting. But I want to know, like, with all these plans, with all, with the IB Digital Academy, your page, your kids, how are you managing all of this? And if you have, any more future plans, بس ما بعرف وين بدهم يساعوا يعني.
Look, I was telling you on the elevator, it's tough. Yeah. I don't want to say it's easy, because it's not. But what I learned with time is to prioritize. Okay? I came to understand that I cannot be 100% on everything unless I burn out. Okay? So this is my starting point. I know that I love to work out. I love to have a social life. I love to have a couple life. I love my kids and I love my work, and I don't want to compromise on any of them. So the solution I found is really to prioritize and to be honest with myself and with my partner. Like, I know that the upcoming 6 months, my priority is going to be my work. So honestly, I will not have time to really take care of the house, or I will have less time to dedicate to this or that. And I find it much more helpful to have this planification going, to manage all of it. Still, I think what's helping me a lot is that I'm super organized, and still I have a lot of energy. So I would start my day at 6 a.m. I would go work out, come back, prepare Hadif to go to school. My husband will take him to go to school, etc., etc. We're gonna work. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna spend some time with Lynn, which is my newborn. I'm gonna be exhausted at the end of the day. Okay, but I'm happy I've done it all. And I think, again, we're all wired differently. I function that way. I love to do a lot of things. Maybe this is not what's going to be the best model for another woman. And I feel this is why I want to say it's not for everyone. And this is also why I want to say it's not easy, because sometimes society keeps on putting guilt on us as women. Like, if you work too much, you're not taking care of your kids. If you stay to take care of your kids, you're not great enough because you're not career oriented.
Ambitious, yeah.
You're not ambitious. If you work out, it's an hour that you can spend with your kid in the morning. So why are you? So there is always a guilt dimension that is going with us. Anna, today, honestly, I don't have any more guilt. But for my first kid, I had it all the time. So now I don't have it because, again, I know what's good for me. I know what's good for my kids. I know what's good for my family. I don't feel I owe anything to anyone. But it's a process. Therapy helped a lot, again. And also liberating myself from a model that a society is projecting on me. I'm not a superwoman. I need help at home. I cannot do it all. No, it's true. Yani, who can do it all? No one. And a lot of people will say, Insaf is a superwoman. No, I'm not a superwoman. Like, I have help at home. And this is, I need help at home. I need a nanny. And I'm so grateful for her, you know. I have my husband, who is a huge support. Like, we support each other. We work as a team. If his work is taking over, then I'm going to work less to put more energy on the house, and vice versa. And today, I don't have any issue with that. And I just want to say, find the model that fits you and what you like and what is important for you. I have some friends who would stop working to take care of their kids, and they're super happy like that. Yeah. And I find it so beautiful. And I just feel like everyone needs to be comfortable with their choices, regardless of what X, Y, Z are going to tell them.
Because they're going to speak anyways.
Yes, exactly, whatever. And I'm telling you, you're breastfeeding. Oh, it's disgusting. You're not breastfeeding. Oh, haram, the poor guy, you're not giving him milk. You know, so
I think people need to chill. Just let everyone
live their lives.
Let live. Support them. You know, like, everyone does their things their way. Just let them be. Let them be, man. But amazing advice. And I would say maybe the last thing is two things. Maybe, I don't know if Maher wants to add anything. If you can give your 18-year-old self one sentence, one phrase, you know, to keep on going, because at 18 lots of change from back then. So, and I'm sure you went through a lot. So بركي شغلة you would have told her, you know, to make it easier.
I think I would say to her, if you only knew what's going to happen, like, you would have been much more confident and easy on yourself.
By the way, I just saw the necklace. Beautiful advice. This is a beautiful necklace to the watermelon.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything?
I wanted to ask you if you would to write a book about your life, and then you said if you only knew. So I thought it was an amazing title.
Amazing title for the book.
I'm so happy you bring this up.
She's writing a book.
I'm not.
If you only knew.
She's writing a book.
You know. I'm so happy. Look, I have tears literally because writing is my first passion. I love writing so much. Writing a book is my biggest dream. And it's something I have in mind, like, every day. And my husband is pushing me to do it because he's like, you need to do this. You need to stop writing just for me or you or your computer. So I hope.
If you only knew.
If you only knew.
Perfect.
If you
we can
only
look
knew.
back at the episode.
Yeah. If you only knew would be a great title actually.
Great.
Insaf, thank you so much. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
No, honestly, thanks so much for having me.
It's our pleasure.
And,
It's our pleasure. The only thing that remains, if you can look at this camera and say always have a higher take, which is like our slogan.
Okay. Always have a higher take.